Okay, good morning. Today's class is Le'unishmat Yerkno De'an L'Megadaya. Le'unishmat? Malake Bat Eshe. Also in the Refuah Shalema of Tova Levas Rivka, Roshan Ben Yamin and Sarah. Also in the success in Yerushalayim of Elishav Vanava, Gedale Fenster, Edmund Rishov Sheva, and Reina Malka Tova Basha. Please share and rate the podcast. This class is really, you're going to really enjoy this class. Not that the other classes are not enjoyable. But we're going to talk about Rav Nachman ben Chazan. He came up with 5 things. He was one of his students. He came up with 5 things that would bring a person to joy. Right? What are the 5 things that he says that where Rav Nachman emphasizes 5 things that will bring a person to joy? We're going to talk about pretty much the science of those things. We're going to bring those things in the class itself. And obviously, this is obviously the whole week of having joy, and the joy we can have in Sukkot really can penetrate the whole joy throughout the year. It's extremely important how to be able to. This is a time, obviously, the days of the Hag are this specifically these days. It's pretty much like a Sheva bracha. So it's a time if you're on your honeymoon and there's happiness issues. Then again we have bigger issues than that. This is not the time. This is the time to build. Because as it gets further, you're going to need to remember the good times you had on the honeymoon, so you can carry it and bring that light into those times. So Rav Nachman says, and I had a beautiful conversation with a friend of mine, Richard from Canada. We're going to have a podcast with him. He's really very and he says something amazing. He says a lot of times the problem is we're coming to the Torah for happiness. Really, at the end of the day, you're supposed to bring happiness to the Torah. You understand? It's how you come with it. And this is a very common issue in marriage. A lot of times in marriage, what is this relationship doing for me? No. What are you doing for the relationship? And if our attitude changes and if we bring joy, for example, if I'm in a good mood and I go learn something, my mind is going to completely open up tremendously. It's going to open up completely differently. I'll look at the same paragraph, and I'll see it completely different. But if I'm doing it as an obligation, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And that's what I spoke in my recovery center. I said, the difference is right now, you guys are going through, what's hard work? I forgot who says it, Simon Sinek said it best. What's the difference between passion and stress? Both are hard work. Passion is you enjoy the hard work. Stress is the hard work burdens you. So that's extremely important that the amount of, you're still going to do the hard work. That whether you're stressed or you're passionate, it's based on your attitude. And that's the whole thing, is when I'm doing something, at least I can change my attitude towards it. That's the one thing you have, is your attitude. And do according to how your attitude is and how you put it through it, that is the level of awareness that you get in what you put in. So it's basically happiness is in my hands. Joy is in my hands. I'm not a victim to circumstances. I'm not a victim to anything. And this is where Rav Nachman says, he says that in the way, if we want to get the light of the infinite, we want to get to connect to the light. Everybody wants to feel connected. Everybody wants to feel that spiritual high. Everybody wants to feel that energy. And the way we do that is by performing mitzvot with joy, by performing things with joy. By doing simple things with joy, that itself can get you to the highest levels of consciousness. We think, we have to go hang out with a guru in India and not eat for 4 days in order to get higher levels. Not true. It's not true. It's doing simple things with happiness. This is the problem with today's generation. It's the sechel. They think they know how to get happiness. I have to do this to happiness. I have to do that to happiness. It's not true. Doing the simple, throwing away your knowledge, throwing away connecting to emotionally, and that is the way to happiness. And he's saying here, you want to just tell him, if you don't mind. And he's saying through the joy of a mitzvah, holiness is perfect. Now, why is this such an important concept, holiness, joy in mitzvot? It's because very simple. The Shekhinah is in exile. Right now, we are under an exile. And the main problem of the generation is sadness. Right? Main problem of the generation is sadness. And Rav Nachman knew that. And he says, what you need to do is the way to get the exile, the Shekhinah out of exile, is when you have a positive attitude. We're going to talk about 5 things to get you there. We're also going to talk about 3 things that get you into the problem. But the important thing is, this is why he compares. Rav Nachman compares, which is incredible. The Zohar, actually, not the Rav Nachman, the Zohar teaches us. He teaches that the Shekhinah, the divine presence, when we speak about the Shekhinah, the concept of, is the Shekhinah in my house? Is this Shekhinah in the guy's face? This refers to a person's heart. And we spoke about the holiday of Sukkot is where we're washing out and purifying the heart. This is the holiday to purify the heart, because remember, if the heart is there, everything is there. If the heart's not there, nothing is there. So remember, right now, the main job of us today is to take the Shekhinah out of exile. When we are learning Torah with energy, when we are learning Torah with ambition, we're glorifying His name. But if I'm learning it like I'm depressed and I look like I have no vitality in what I'm doing, then I'm saying that the Shekhinah has no. I'm aiding and abetting being in exile. So this is why it's extremely important that your attitude has to always be, even if you're struggling, you have to fight for the joy and bring the joy into it. And when you do that, that has a tremendous effect in the heavens. And again, it's not what the Torah can do for you. What could you do for the Torah? What could you do for your Creator? And if you have that attitude, and this is the story, in a man's search for meaning, it's like, don't ask what life can do for you. What could you do for life? What meaning could you bring into life? So he says there's 5 things that that you could practically bring yourself to joy. And we're going to talk about pretty much the science of those also. The first thing Reb Nachman emphasized in Mila de Shtusa, which is called making silliness, laughing, jokes. I used to tell a lot more jokes before, but I don't have enough money for the Pampers that I have to bring to people because they're so sensitive. Every single time that you say a joke, you get an email. After COVID, everybody's mind just completely went to the guy. So I used to tell jokes, and people would, okay, what big deal? It's a joke. It's not personal. But you should see the emails, and I can't believe you're talking this. So I don't have, again, inflation. The price of Pampers went up. So if I had enough money for Pampers for everybody, I would just buy everybody Pampers and tell the jokes. So the jokes are pretty much in today's society. You really cannot joke around that much. It's just they don't have the I don't know. Just everybody's taking everything way too personal across the board. Everybody's just everything's just way too personal, and you just have to stop living everything and making everything about you.
But the question is, if you
one second. We're just recording afterwards. But the bottom line is, find a way to. Reb Nachman, he constantly had Mila de Shtusa. He constantly joked around. Reb Nachman, out of all, he specifically, all his followers. No, I'm not telling you to go dance in a Nana bus for 3 hours and do nothing all day long. That's not the idea. That got taken a little bit. But the emphasis of not taking life so heavy, coming into this heavy world and bringing lightness to it by joking around, and whether you need to joke around or you want to see some videos, curb your enthusiasm, or you want to watch Larry David, whatever it is, you got to do what you have to do, because staying in sadness is so bad that it can get you depressed, it can get you knocked out. So do what you have to do to joke around, as long as you're not making fun of people in general. But it's so important that laughter is so important at all costs. Even so many times, in you're having an argument with your wife, it's a shalom bayit issue. Just change the subject. At the end of the day, it's the same pattern. Everybody talks about fights over the same thing. Anyway, change the pattern. Talk about something else. Just joke around. That itself can change everything. And the science of just laughing, it releases endorphins. And what do endorphins do naturally? What's the purpose of an endorphin? When we speak about endorphins are called painkillers. That is a painkiller. Music is a painkiller. Endorphins are painkillers. You stop thinking about it. David Hawkins, he says laughing at something was one of the greatest ways to let go of something. There was a study that there was 2 people selling things, and one person was made mistakes, and they were both selling cookies, and one of them was vulnerable and she made mistakes, and basically the other one's a perfectionist, cookie cutter, everything exactly. More people bought from the person that didn't know what she was doing. The whole point is, don't be. Life is very short. Stop making it so serious, and that's one thing that Breslov has really brought out. Stop making everything about you. Joke around. The people make fun of you, laugh back, And don't give it energy. When we laugh at something, we're not giving it energy. You understand? We're not giving it energy. We actually are actually doing the opposite. We're completely resolving it. You understand? But if you take it personal, you're now resisting and giving that negativity energy. So laughing is one of the greatest ways of letting go. That is a form of letting go. Just laugh at it. Okay, another mistake today. Another screw up today. Yay! 3 for the week. Just constantly get yourself into a good mood of just laughing, not making fun of yourself, but recognize this life is extremely short. Extremely short. Or again, what does my Shalom Bayit look like today? It looks like Gaza today. It looks like a lesson of Fauda. I don't know which side I'm on. But the bottom line is, don't make it so seriously, because at the end of the day, especially women, they change their mind every 5 minutes. So at the end of the day, what you're worried about, at the end of the day, she's probably going to forget about it 5 minutes later. So don't give energy to things, etc. Okay? So again, what does laughing do? It releases endorphins, which it gets rid of stress, gets rid of cortisol, right? It relaxes your muscles, it creates social bonding, and it shifts your perspective. So I don't know how much you want more than that. Get into a use of getting into a habit of laughing. And it's so important. And this is exactly why Breslovers, the whole thing is a big joke. You understand? We go to Ukraine, we go to Uman, people laugh at us, the Russian guy's laughing at us, etc. It's the whole thing is because without it, Reb Nachman, even when he got to Israel, he had to laugh so much, and he had to make fun of the Turkish guy, and he told him one day, I'm Ashkenazi, no, I'm Sephardic, are you a Kohen, I'm this. He kept on telling him different things all the time, because he knew if you would pay attention to the seriousness of the issue, he would be gone. So it's an extremely important, find a way where you can, this year, you can find a way to laugh more. The second thing he says is moving and dancing, specifically moving also, working out. Reb Nachman says in lesson 6, in the second half of the Likutei Moharan, a good sweat can bring one to joy. A good sweat can bring one to joy. As it says, you shall rejoice on a good day. The reason is, joy is dependent upon the state of blood, which means in a person's body. And depression stems from excessive blood in the spleen. What is this? What is the spleen known for? Overthinking. Every organ has a specific function. Kidneys is fear. The heart is joy. The liver is anger. The spleen itself represents overthinking, and that releases a black bile, which is called the black bile, and that produces a black bile. So basically, when there's too much excess blood becomes stuck and stagnant. So as you work out, what happens? When you get a good blood flow. You get a good blood flow when you move around. Emotion, motion. You move around. You create blood flow, which makes you think differently. When blood impurities or spleen are with normal minutes, on the contrary, when the spleen receives too much blood, it becomes toxic. The cure is to sweat, because sweat eliminates the toxics of the contamination of the blood, which cause a person to fall ill. The Arizal used to sweat every single time he used to do something. He used to clean. He would always sweat, because that makes also tikkun for the other kind of sweating that was improper sweating. So we sweat for the wrong thing sometimes. You put the sweat into the good thing. So actually, working out is a mitzvah, because it's going to get you in a better mood. It's going to release endorphins. Again, it's going to improve your mood, and so it's that. And he on the second category, he puts that in music. Again, music, the same thing. As long as the music is not telling you to go shoot down your neighborhood and go kill everybody, then that music is okay. But the wrong types of music, yes, is connected to, depending on the sexual energy of that music, can bring you up, and then it can bring you way down. But again, you words to the wise. What kind of music? But again, what does music do? The same thing. It releases endorphins, which are called painkillers, which get you out of your head. Same concept. And these things are things that we all need to do. It's not, I'm going to wake up, why am I in a hat? No, you're not doing anything. You're not moving, you're not moving, you're not thinking, you're not doing anything. So what do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect to happen? So again, the moving and the exercises releases endorphins and creates blood flow, and most importantly, gives you oxygen to your brain. When we breathe, and we do Wim Hof breathing, what happens? We have oxygen to our brain. When we don't have oxygen, it's because we have cortisol. Again, overthinking, making everything very heavy, making things standard. This is the problem when you fall into this world and you get stuck on the details of the world. It's nothing but unhappiness. So when it comes to Friday night, you can barely make it. Stick a piece of challah in your face, and you're down out and out for the whole week, and you're knocked out till one day. It's because you're taking life way too seriously. And again, I'm a businessman, and I'm telling you right now, stop taking everything. It's all temporary at the end of the day. Everything's temporary. Things can change in a blink of an eye. Things can change in a blink of an eye. You have to understand that. And things can shift good or bad in a blink of an eye. So you have to get ready to move. That's the bottom line. Just get ready to constantly move. And this is exactly why the second thing is exercise or some music or dancing. These things greatly can increase you to happiness. Again, think about the two areas in your life. Two areas Kabbalistically that get affected when you are sad. It's the hands, which represent faith, and it's the feet. The feet also represent the Malchut, which represents, Malchut represents the Kabbalistically Shechira, same thing. And when those are heavy, it's because there's a heaviness, there's an attachment, there's a stuckness. So what do you got to do? Again, Breslov they would dance around and laugh. You would see, airports that planes are stuck. What do you got? You're going to sit there and worry about every single flight you're not going to make. This is not going to happen. That's going to happen. Or you could just dance and have joy and not care. And live in the moment. And when you do that, what happens? Through joy you will go out. The most important verse, I think, in the Torah is this verse. Through joy you will go out. I think there's nothing greater than that verse. Because it's telling me I'm in a situation, how do I get out of this? Through joy. By changing my attitude. I mean, you know how many hours of therapy you could save from this? You know how many hours of therapy? Through joy. Have a better attitude ahead of the situation. Which we're going to talk about this concept also. But that's another important. You have to figure out a way to physically move around. Emotion, motion. It's not enough to sit there and say why this is not happening. Move around. Create a workout routine. Challenge your physical body with a trainer. Invest in it. It will do tremendous work for you. Because again, not only if you get a trainer or if you work on, you're hitting goals, which is releasing dopamine. You understand? And you're getting the endorphins. So as you hit goals, as you see your body changing, as you start seeing, what it does is it allows you to have new oxygen in your brain. And when you think about that, it's there. It's there. And think about what the new cancer is today. Not moving. Sitting, living a session, you age longer, etc. There's a science. The science of exercise is very simple. There's the book called Spark, basically saying that if you work out, you get the equivalent of Ritalin and Prozac. They did a study that people worked out. They basically did a placebo. They got the same equivalent as Ritalin and Prozac. Doesn't mean if you're skinny you shouldn't work out. No, you still need the blood flow. You still need the oxygen. You still need the movement. It's extremely important. And if you don't work out, you're missing out on the Ritalin and you're missing out on that. So just think about that concept. The third thing, Rav Nachman says, is finding your good points. The third thing that's going to bring you to happiness is finding your good points, which is, aka, self-esteem. Self-esteem is, I see the good points in my life. I see things could be, I'm good enough, but I could always do better. That's self-esteem. I'm good enough, but I could always do better. We had a great month, but we could always do better. Versus, I'm not good, and I can't do better. You develop a hopelessness mindset, you become a victim to life, and you become a taker instead of a giver. So a lack of not finding your good points is low self-esteem. And that is pretty much the root of pretty much every mental issue that you could see, according to Rabbi Twersky. And again, self-esteem is your perspective of your own worth, which again, it's an opinion. It's your opinion of what you're worth. So if you feel that you're worth very low, you're going to end up going out with people who are in that standard. because you think that's all I'm going to get. So it screws up your perspective of the future because you're looking at the future through the lens of the past. So when you're not looking at your good points, all you're seeing is your negative points, and you're almost going to say, because it happened in the past, it's going to happen again. So tell me how you can have, and all you want to do is run away from yourself. So that's pretty much, this is written 200 years ago. It's very common. Again, self-esteem is focusing on your good points. The turkey prince. Yes, I'm a turkey. I'm underneath the table, but I just put my shirt on. And then what happens? I'm going to put my pants on, even though I'm still a turkey. But I still have the ability. It's extremely important. Because if you recognize that, you can't get to the next level. And this is when we have self-worth, we start gaining confidence, we put more effort into ourselves, etc. And then we will, obviously, when we have self-esteem, our relationships flourish. Because if we don't have self-esteem, then what do? We become, every little thing bothers us, and we become victims in the relationship. So that's a low self-esteem, right? What do you think is going to happen to a relationship with low self-esteem? You're going to be blamed for everything. Everything's your fault. My happiness is your fault. I'm not happy because of you. I'm not successful because of you. You destroyed my future. You destroyed my past. Blah, blah, blah. Every story of the book, you'll be 10 counts of trauma. That's low self-esteem. So again, good points is I do have self-esteem. I learn from my mistakes. I don't put the chair on top of my head. I learn from them. I put the failures on the bottom, not on my head. That's the difference. Take a chair and take self-esteem. Is put the chair, and what you learn from it, you stand up on the chair. That's proper self-esteem. Low self-esteem is taking all the failures and walking around with a chair on your head and saying, "Look who I am." So that's Reb Nachman's number one Torah. A zamra. I will sing with what I have. I will constantly sing with what I have, even if I have nothing. I'll sing even a little bit I have. Because if I start singing about one thing, tomorrow I'll sing about 2 things. And then I'll sing about 3 things, and then I'll sing about 4 things. And then also, how you view yourself is obviously how you treat others. So if you start seeing yourself and you start recognizing the good in you, you'll see the good in others. Low self-esteem, it just takes everybody down. It takes the whole ship down. And remember, if you decide to be happy, nobody can make you sad. If you decide to be sad, nobody can make you happy. Remember that line. So that is 3 good points. That is the good points. Number 4. It says the 4th thing that can bring us to happiness is being constantly grateful to God. Constantly thanking God for all He's done. Again, the science of this is the people that wrote 5 different things every single day in a journal, in a gratitude journal, they were 25% happier across their lives. If they wrote 5 things they were grateful for. Why? Because again, whatever you're grateful appreciates. Whatever you appreciate appreciates. So those are think about how much gratitude you have to today, and that is thanking God. And remember, the most important reason, Kabbalistically, why we have to thank God is because thanking God, specifically for an issue in life, is the combination of God's name, Yud-Keh Vav-Keh, and Elokim. And what that does is that gives you dat, and the dat equals awareness. So Kabbalistically, being grateful is you're recognizing that the good and bad are one. It's not a separate entity. Therefore, everything is one. Therefore, you have consciousness. Therefore, your consciousness will be open. So gratitude gives you awareness. Reb Nachman always said that in lesson 24, which is extremely important to understand. What does he say? He says, it is necessary to draw faith into the intellect. Faith has to be drawn into the intellect, for one should not rely solely on his intellect. This corresponds to, there's a verse in Psalms 28 that says, a man of faith has abundant blessings. A man of faith has abundant blessing. Not a man of intelligence has abundant blessings. A man of faith. You need to know in life when you could put the gas, and you need to know in life when you could put the brakes. You know, my wife, we had a work issue with it, and she recognized that as much as smart as she was and how she could figure it out, it wasn't working. So she's like, you told the HR manager, this is not working. We need to go pray for this, and maybe that's what's needed, is the prayer. So knowing when you have to back down and stop controlling and let God into your life. So that is your gratitude. Your level of gratitude will bring you to joy, because again, joy is a result of perspective, and your perspective is open through gratitude. So that's the fourth point. The fifth point, he says, is being able to have faith. Being able to be positive ahead of the situation. Can you be positive ahead of the situation? Can you think positively about a situation and believe in the salvation? That is the fifth thing. Reb Nachman says something beautiful in lesson 7 in the first half of the Likutei Moharan, which I finally got it. I read it 100 times. I didn't get it. He says the word emunah and the word amanah. I mean, I could say the word aleph, a or e. It's the same word, emunah or amanah. And he says when you have faith, there's going to be a mountain called amanah. When we're going to be saved, we're going to be on top of a mountain, and we're going to see the Yeshua. So imagine and picture myself when I'm in a situation, I'm on top of a mountain. Like, it's that the concept of the cheesecake party, of putting yourself already in the solution. That means positive thinking and visualizing is emunah. The ability to see something, that I'm already standing on top of a mountain, that I'm already crossing the Red Sea, that is faith. So positive thinking allows you not to get stuck on the rationality of your own intelligence. Again, this is why if you look at, if we, in Breslov Circle, they pray, when they pray for an etrog, they're not praying intellectually for an etrog. God wants your ratzon. He wants your desire. He doesn't want your intelligence. He wants your desire. He wants to see your hunger, how much you want something. So he blocks your intelligence to arouse your arousal. You understand? There's times in life where he blocks your intelligence on purpose because he wants to activate your heart. So the same thing. When you're forced in a situation of positive thinking, your rational mind is not going to get you there. Your faith is going to get you there. So that's the fifth thing. The fifth thing is, can you think greater than you feel? Can you foresee a better circumstances than the current one? Can you believe that God renews the days daily? Can you believe in that? Do you believe that today is a brand new energy, and tomorrow will be a brand new energy, and the day after will be a brand new energy? As the Zohar says, God renews his whole world every single day. Can you live in that moment? Can you live in the moment? That's the fifth thing. Now, if we talk about that, those are things that will bring you to genuine joy. Okay? So think about areas of your life where that has not happened. Ingratitude, not moving, seeing all the negativity in your life. Pretty much the opposite of what gets us in the problem. Ingratitude, not moving, not joking around, taking life way too seriously, and just being stuck. And he also says that and he says in another Torah, lesson 1 in the second half. I'm kind of doing a double session today because tomorrow morning I have to go to my recovery center. He says, what are the 3 things that make you depressed? And he says, so we already know what brings you to happiness. Okay? What brings you to depression? Obviously, is your relationship with food, your relationship with money, and your relationship with sexual relations. Those 3 things bring you to abdut, to slavery, because your heart is your shalom, and there's 3 things that affect the heart, and these are the 3 things today. So practically, if a person's eating the wrong way, your serotonin is in your gut. 90% of your serotonin is in your gut. You eat the wrong foods, it can bring you to depression. The science of that, common sense. Food can make you depressed, absolutely. So the second thing is your relationship to money, right? If a person doesn't have a good relationship, that's why it's very important. When you deal with money, money is a tool. If your relationship is constant attachment, sadness, you have to first get rid of your relationship to money. Your relationship to money is flawed. You think that the more you have it, the more control, the more happy. That is a problem. So Reb Nachman says it's extremely important what your relationship is to money. And he says the only way to be saved from greed is through charity. That means if you're not giving charity, you're almost guaranteed to be greedy. And greed is at the end of the day, you're going to end up depressed because you die with half of what you want. He says there's no other way to be saved but through charity. So if you're not giving charity, I guarantee you there's not a smile on your face when it comes to money. There's only aggravation, my father's stingy in heaven, nothing's opening up for me. It's because you're living in that fear and security based. And again, we all get that. This is why we need Michael Safdie, his daily bitachon, to tell us that we're all a bunch of bamboo heads and we don't know what we're doing and we think we're in control. Yes, you do need to hear that language today. And it's funny how two businessmen are running the biggest podcast today and not rabbis. It's pretty crazy. It's because the language has to change. We have to tell people you're out of your mind, you're an illusion of control, and you are in the biggest maze and you're the little puppet and the little rat running after the cheese, thinking that you're in control. That is the greatest illusion. And obviously, God in 1 minute can show you know nothing. So that is why we need a guy like Michael Safdie to scream bitachon in people today. It's because it's still in the head. It's not. You don't realize how ridiculous you are running around stressed and angry and yelling and why is this not and worried. You don't realize what a clown we look like until you have a guy like that to remind you sometimes of this is how you look like. You see a video of yourself at work. Take a video of yourself at work and see how ridiculous you are when you get bad news and this and this. And again, I'm in the business world. I've seen days where I look like, what the hell was I doing? It's because when you don't have bitachon, you look like you're running after your own tail. So that's extremely important. That's a muscle. Bitachon is a muscle that must be worked on. If you don't work it, it will not work for you. So yes, we constantly do need re-encouraging trust. We do need re-encouragement because if we don't have that, we end up chasing all day long. So that is, and the third one is relations, sexual relations. That area is if you are using sexual relationships as a place to release depression, or to get out of, or just to chase. Obviously, there's no. It's a hungry ghost. So those are the three things that affect the heart. And these are the 5 things that bring you to happiness. So Hashem help us all that we should really work on this. And again, the purpose of all of this is very simple. You have to identify the issue. Don't get upset. Here, this is the issue. I'm consuming way too many calories. Because if you look at it, I am not a body. I have a body. You understand? You're not a body. You have a body. You're not finished because you do this. Identify the issue in your life that's affecting you. And then you have to create a schedule to work on it. Because remember, it's never the lack of light. It's the shadow that's causing the problem. You understand? It's the shadow. So you have to work on the biggest issue. The biggest knot in your life. For example, if we have a knot in our back, that's eventually going to affect your glutes, your neck. It pulls down. Everything's affected. You have to release the knot. So again, figure out your relationship with money. If your relationship with money is toxic, give charity away. Giving charity releases the greed. It makes you into abundant. Abundant people give charity, don't they? Cheap people don't give charity because they think it's going to run out. So logically, and one thing about the Syrian community, they worry a lot, but they do give a lot of charity. So at the end of the day, and if you're not going to give the charity, somebody else will give it. It's not even your money. That's the whole point. It's not even your money. You're holding on to the 90%. All you have to do is take the 10% and give it away. But when you think the 10% is yours and the 90 is yours, good luck. Good luck. All that's going to lead to is depression. And again, stay in your lane in that area. You cannot look at other people. How many times, one day the stock's 145, 125. The most ridiculous thing is looking. I can't believe, look, I'm jealous of that guy. He bought Amazon at 145. Now tomorrow's at 125. Now I'm not jealous of him anymore. I mean, do you understand how ridiculous it is? So when the fact that you're looking at other people's cash flow, that already means you have a very dysfunctional relationship with money. Stay in your own damn lane. Food, figure out what's eating you or what to eat. Food doesn't mean you're going to have more energy. Too much food takes away your energy. Again, plant-based, 5 things, eat before 8 o'clock, because it affects everything. It affects your serotonin levels. And again, so these 3 things, and obviously relations, obviously you have to, if you're a guy and you're developing feminine qualities, that's going to be a problem eventually. Because when you become a taker, you become the needer, the receiver. When you're watching the wrong things, you become only a receiver. So if you become a receiver, then you have feminine energy, too much estrogen. So that estrogen doesn't equal shefa. You understand? Testosterone equals shefa, not estrogen. Because remember, God uses you to give. But if you can't give because you're a taker, He doesn't give through you. He'll pick somebody else to give through. You get me? That's extremely important. And for women, the fourth thing is obviously honor. Honor is their biggest Yetzer Hara is honor. Honor, validation. This is where they're struggling. The woman is compared to the moon. The moon is always lacking. So she has to be careful not to look for excessive honor. Excessive honor is a problem. So you have to work on letting go, work on not needing approval, not needing to compare to despair, just living on your own. You know you're a daughter of God, and you know your value, and you don't have to go in there and say, I'm lacking. I need this first person to complete me. I need that guy to complete me. I need this to complete me, because at the end of the day, how about if they have a half a tank, they can't even complete themselves. So now you become dependent upon people, and your happiness is going to go down the drain. So you have to work on really on honor, not to run after honor. That is the Yetzer Hara for women. So when we identify the issue, we put time into the issue, we put 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day into that issue, praying for it, then these issues go away. And then they open up energies, they open up new pipes that were blocked before. You understand? Never get upset of why you're going through something. Because if you're so upset, you're going to be bothered, and then you're going to lose your self-esteem. No, here's what I got to work on. This could do better. This could be better. Look at yourself as your own consultant, not as, I'm in this situation, I can't believe I'm in this situation, I'm struggling. It's not good, because you'll never get out of it. That's exactly the job of the Yetzer Hara, is to make you depressed and to knock you out of the game. All you have to do is identify the issue, put time into the issue, and recognize that's causing you happiness. Listen, I changed my relationship with money, and my whole life changed. I looked at it as a tool. I looked at it as just a tool. But when I was before gambling, it became my net worth is my self-worth. I was so attached to it. I was so blind. So no matter what, I was always empty. So until I changed the relationship to the money, and even again with David Hawkins' book, even more, changed the relationship to money, it's because anytime you go in there as demanding and wanting out of sadness, it's not good for you. But when you master your state, conditions change. And this is exactly what our sages are telling us. We want to focus on states, not conditions. When we focus on conditions to change states, we're finished. We are finished. We want to master our states. Our states have to be changed. We can walk into anything in a good state, and that outcome could change. But we walk in there with a bad state. When we walk in there with a condition, I need a condition. These conditions have to happen so I can put a smile on my face. I'm now dependent upon something. I'm screwed. Because if it doesn't happen, now I'm a slave to that situation. And again, it took a lot of work for me through the Bittul, through Rav Nachman's teachings, very much through the book Letting Go. Letting Go taught me so much. The book, again, David Hawkins' book Letting Go. It's non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. I don't care if a rabbi tells you not to read it because it's not Jewish. Don't listen to him. It's non-negotiable. There's no better language today on how to master your states and how to let go of things than that book. Honestly, there's no way. It's just we're so attached. I'm so attached to this house in the ocean. I'm so attached to this car. I'm so attached to this. So the attachment is making you stuck. It's making you stuck. And all you think about is this. And my self-worth is my net worth if this doesn't happen. And all you're doing is chasing the opposite thing. And that's again. And then when we come to our Creator to pray, we're like, why would I pray to you? You're not giving me anything. You didn't give me this, you didn't give me this, you didn't give me this. And that leads us to a very dysfunctional relationship with our Creator, and it leads to a tremendous amount of sadness. And we go to synagogue at 11 o'clock in the morning when we feel like it. Because we just woke up from 14 hours of sleep. This is not what you want in life. I'm just telling you from my own opinion. I'm not telling you to become a rabbi tomorrow, but I'm just giving you advice. And I've been around the block, and I'm still around the block. I'm telling you this is the best advice that I have seen out there. So Hashem bless us all that we should all master, do these 5 things, work on the 3 things work on the shadows, work on the 5 things. Because again, sometimes when you do, Rav Nachman says sometimes you need your body to elevate your soul. You understand? Let's say you're not in a good mood. Your soul's, you're off. You need your body sometimes to elevate the soul. Usually the body drains the soul. But there's a time where the body can elevate the soul. This is why we physically could do things and we could elevate our spirits, etc. Have a great day.
Thank you.